Uh, excuse me.
Okay.
I cannot speak English, but
Okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah, baby! Let's go!
Japan.
This current World Cup is probably the closest we'll ever get to world peace, and it is exactly what they at least trying to control us hate to see. There's already been many highlights, from legends like Messi, Ronaldo and Neymar having their last run, to the new generation of stars like Mbappe, Haaland, Vini and Yamal building their legacies, and small nations like Cabo Verde, Haiti and Curaçao making their mark. But amongst all of that, the real significance isn't even what happens on the pitch. Even though the football itself has been impeccable so far, what makes this tournament really memorable is what happens beyond it. When before or after each and every game, regardless of the result, people from different cultures, backgrounds and ethnicities come together and coexist among one another with joy and appreciation. When people flood the streets representing their countries and being fully embraced by the hosts in Mexico, Canada and the USA. This World Cup has already given us so many unexpected but wholesome combos of different nationalities coming together, and you would have to be insanely nihilistic if not even one of them bring a smile to your face. If you really think about it, it's not even supposed to be this way. Every country is in direct competition with one another, and that should theoretically breed a lot of nationalism. But no, it does the exact opposite. It brings us closer together. There's a certain special bond you create with someone by seeing a legend of the game that you both love have their last run on the world stage and enjoying it together despite coming from completely different ends of the world. There's a certain feeling you can't capture in other sports of rooting for a small nation to make a name for themselves and seeing the people from that nation develop a sense of pride because they're finally being represented in the biggest way possible. The World Cup has always been a tournament that brings people together, but I feel like this is the first time people really get to see it on such a wide scale. For some reason, the unity represented in this one feels more special, and I think it's because of one of the countries it's being hosted in, more specifically the USA.
My fellow Americans, do y'all see how big football is? We call it soccer here, right? But it will forever be called football from now on. Do you all understand how big this World Cup is what the world should be? You see how many melting pot of cultures coming together could do for us as a world? I've never seen so much peace between countries than I've ever seen until this World Cup. We have it in our backyards. We can see it in 4K. What's going on? There's a reason why this sport is as big as it is and how unifying it can be. This is what the world should be.
What I'm about to say may come off as somewhat offensive to my majority American audience, but hear me out. The US has always been a country that has trained a lot of its people to be culturally ignorant, so to speak.
Okay, the next round, Team USA will play Bosnia next Wednesday. And one thing about Bosnia, I could not point out where it is on a map. I don't know the first thing about Bosnia, and I don't want to know. That's because Team USA, we're back, we're better than ever. That's next Wednesday. Get prepared, Bosnia, because you don't want it. You don't want it like that.
From my outside perspective as a South African, it has always been a general thought that Americans seem to live in their own world and were generally dismissive to cultures other than theirs. Even the way they treat the sport of football has always seemed condescending. Over there, the footballing culture is not as big, and it was treated as a middle-class sport until the very moment it was in their very own backyard. And finally, on a much larger scale, they realized how special this sport is compared to any other. Its impact is far bigger than that of basketball or the NFL. It's a game that the whole world loves, lives and breathes. So I think that the huge embrace of other people from different parts of the world is a result of not only a culture shock to them, but of a realization that we don't actually hate each other, but it's the powers that be that make us do. These evil billionaires spend every single second of their day intentionally building systems to tear us apart. They use corporate media to paint false narratives about other nations. They build mental and physical borders to convince us that anyone who crosses them are enemies and use our differences to manufacture division amongst us. But when you see all the unity at this tournament in all these different countries, you realize we genuinely don't have any beef. And before you come into my comments saying shit like, oh, it's all a distraction, they're using football to divert from real issues. Hey, shh. Just put your cynicism aside and really focus on the spirit of it all. The power in the unity you see on the screen right now. Take a moment to appreciate the fact that all of these countries have come together to create one giant melting pot of just joy and admiration for one another. And I will admit, it's not all sunshine and rainbows across the board. We can't ignore the deeply rooted and disgusting levels of racism that Argentinians spew towards black people, especially since this tournament started.
Or even recently, black Dutch players being subjected to racial abuse online due to missing crucial penalties. Those are the only two examples I could think of, so if you have others, you're more than welcome to point them out in the comments.
But regardless, I've always believed that any type of prejudice against people who are different than you in any way is taught, and it's being proven right in front of our eyes. Human beings just don't come out the womb hating each other. It's not nature, but rather it's nurtured through years of carefully crafted lies and manipulated history. Political elites make us hate each other because we are easier to control that way. It is easy to formulate ideas about certain groups of people based off who the media tells you they are. But once you are standing face to face with another human being, all that goes away and you realize they are more than just what you have been taught they are. They might come from a completely different background, but they share a love for the game just as much as you do, and are just as similar to you on a completely human level. Their culture is more rich, vibrant, and fascinating than you could have ever imagined, and they will let you embrace it with them wholeheartedly if you just treat them like another human being. These differences about one another that we're embracing and enjoying are exactly the same ones that the people at the top and our so-called leaders constantly use to breed these pointless culture wars in order to separate us. Whether it be the Scottish clearing out the bars in Boston, the Norwegians doing their Viking row in Times Square and the New York subways, or a random white English kid being carried and dancing around with a bunch of Ghanaians, it just goes to show that people from all around the world can get along. Korean men are having the time of their lives in Mexico, so much to the point where I genuinely believe there will be a sudden surge in Korean Mexican children. Soon we'll be seeing a Songwoo Hernandez, mark my words. But all of it is proof that we can put our differences aside and embrace each other as human beings if politics and propaganda aren't involved, and we all share one common goal, which in this case is football, and I would argue could be the case with other things too. This same unity and positivity can be directed towards rebelling against the very systems meant to make us despise each other. If we can come together in this fashion, over 22 men kicking a ball around, then we can take that same energy and refuse to participate in their wars and shatter the mental shackles that they have built around us. The blueprint is there, but unfortunately I'm not sure if the will to actually do it is. But regardless of if this results in something greater after the tournament, perhaps a culture shift or a change in mentality, it is proof that unity and peace isn't some far away utopian idea. It is real and it is achievable. Unfortunately, you know damn well the Orange Man is still going to try to use this as an opportunity to push his political agendas, but at the end of the day, him. To some of you, the things I'm saying might come off as some cheesy we are the world kumbaya bullshit, and that's fine. But the proof is right there for you to see. This game brings people together in a way no other sport can. Football is and always will be a game that belongs to the world. No matter how much the greedy billionaires try to commodify it and over-commercialize it, no matter how much the greedy billionaires try to ruin it, the beauty and essence of the sport will never die. The phrase "it's more than just a game" is not a random cheesy tagline that corporate sponsors took for PR purposes. It's a fact, because this is a sport that transcends everything created to divide us. It's the world's game. But anyways, as always, that's all I had to say. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, like it, share it, do all that good stuff. Subscribe to your boy so we can get to 1K, please. Y'all stay safe, and I'm out.